Hey guys, decided to do an oddball video. The reason it's an oddball video, a lot of you guys were curious. I never got around to making this video. Heck, I rarely ever drive this Ford. Pretty much safe to say I never almost drive this Ford. It's a fleet vehicle, you know, a truck that's in our fleet. Hauls gooseneck for 99% of the time. There's a gooseneck in the back. I'm driving empty right now, but nevertheless. So, the question lies, why do we only have one Power Stroke versus 21 Cummins, meaning, you know, Ram with the Cummins in it? So, the top three reasons, guys. So, I'm going to in 2017, when we compare this 17 Power Stroke versus a 17 Ram, and keep in mind, the trucks were bought brand new, and I'm not, you know, sadly, we only had one Ford to compare the data to versus quite a few 17s Ram, and average, you know, they all did about the same, give or take. But on an average, Ford burnt 30% more fuel. Yes, 30% more fuel in the same kind of operation. Keep in mind, trucks were bought brand new. We have very good, you know, records of it and whatnot. So the fuel was a big no-no. 30% is quite the gap in fuel efficiency. And then the second one, which probably should be number one, is the exhaust brake on the 6-7 Power Strokes are just a joke. The 6-7 Power Stroke has nothing on the exhaust brake versus a Cummins. And truckers out there, the real truckers, not the guys that pull a camper on the weekend, the guys that work their trucks every single day, coming down a 6-7% grade for miles on end, and that exhaust brake not holding you back and you applying your service brake is a big recipe. And I mean big recipe because you're asking for a fatal outcome. So if you're lucky, you'll hit a runaway ramp once you overheat your brakes, or I don't even want to talk about it. It's a big fat no-no. You can't overheat the brakes. So what you're going to do is you're going to come off the hill a lot slower, knowing that you have a weak exhaust brake. I mean, you're killing a lot more time going through passes. So that's a no-no. And then approaching the stop. So that was another just can't, you know. In 17, thought it was a good idea to try the Ford, and then we backed right out of it. I know some of you guys love your Fords, some of you guys love your GMCs. This is my story, this is my reasoning, so it's like an opinion. Everyone has one, but I got data to back up my opinions as far as the company. I mean, I don't care if it reads Kia here, you know what I mean? If it produces what I need it to show and produce, then I'll be driving a Kia, but sadly Kia isn't making pickups anymore, I don't think they ever did. But Kia, do me a favor, don't start making pickups. You're gonna make me buy one because I said I'd buy one, just because it's producing the numbers I need it to produce. But nevertheless, so, and then the number three. So I know some of you guys will argue till you're blue in the face, but I still stand on the fact that the Power Stroke does not have the low end of a Cummins. Facts. I was just going through hills with this thing, pretty much empty, 500-pound sheet of steel in the back, and just, it's not there. So it's not only the fact that it has to downshift. That's it. I don't really care about that. It'd be cool if it could hold the gear, but no, it downshifts, you know, and I understand the power band's a little higher, not that big of a deal, but it equates to wear and tear. It equates to more wear. The wear and tear, what I'm talking about, and specifically, I'm not going to just hound it for it, but this transmission already had to be pulled apart and worked on. I'm not saying it's uncommon or very common. I'll just leave it alone. But, you know, the fact of the matter stays. Like, the transmission already had to be worked on. Second thing is, if I were to pull up my Ram with like 620 or 630, yes, 620, 630,000, 100,000 miles on it, you know, well over that 500,000 mile, that engine's going to have by far less blow-by than this engine. Obviously, it's not a scientific test. I'll just open the filler cap and see how much smoke comes up, you know. both engines got their filters, they got their PC or the pressure crank ventilating systems in them, but just that's what the fact of the matter stays. You know what I mean? It's just, that's how it is. It's the fact state the statement. So that tells me the engine is sloppier. Yes, it has 2 more pistons, but come on, man, there's quite the difference there in blow by. As I said, it's nothing scientific. So that little bit less low-end kind of lock and load attitude out of the Cummins really saves the tranny, it saves the engine. And as I said, a lot of you guys are die-hard Ford dudes, and you're gonna argue with me, argue all you want. It doesn't change the fact that this is probably gonna be the last Ford in the fleet. Yes, I'm tempted. I was really tempted to buy a 2020 with the 10-speed and all that. I don't know, man. If my channel gets big enough, I think I might go out there just for gigs. I probably wouldn't call it for entertaining purposes. For truly testing purposes, I could go out there and buy a Duramax and a Power Stroke just to test stuff on it. But I think that's a bit of a long shot. But yeah. So with that in mind, guys, I said Duramax. Some of you guys are gonna ask why I never bothered with Duramax. Guys, independent suspension has its time and place, and it's not in what we do. You know, same thing goes with the Ford. It's a better daily than the Cummins. You know, without a trailer, the Ford's much quicker. It's just a snappier engine. It's a snappier tranny. It's a better daily driver in a lot of ways with its attitude and that, you know, the way it's constructed. And what I mean by that, the way it's tuned, you know, it downshifts real quick. It gets out of its way a lot quicker. The Cummins can't compete with the Ford. Stock on stock, daily, they just can't compete. Ford's, you know, a quicker truck. Same thing goes with the Cummins. You know, Cummins has its time and place. The Ford has its time and place. But for what I need, Ram fits the best. But anyways, I'll just leave it at that because I got all these ideas in the back of my head that I can share with you guys, but I need to stay focused and leave this video at what I said it is. The main reasons why we only have 1 Ford in the fleet versus 21 Ram trucks with the Cummins in them. Not to say that something's wrong with this Ford as far as this Ford's giving us hell. No, you know, a little service here and there ain't no big deal. You know, we do try to change out the oil a little sooner than the Rams. We understand there's more pistons. We understand there's more revolution. And that's not your number one killer. You know, fuel's your number one killer of the oil. But still, you know, we try to accommodate it. We try to help it and do all we can. You know, for 246,000 miles this truck has, it's done fairly well, you know. Tranny's been not serviced, regular service, but it's been worked on once. You know, it gets the transmission services just like my Ison every 50,000. And yeah, oh boy. And I'm not saying this Ford's a bad truck, it's just not quite suitable for my needs what the Ram is. I guess I can leave it at that. I've stated that the Ford's better in other areas, so don't fall off your seat and tell me stuff. For you guys curious, look at that gas mileage, 14.1. Just call it empty. Half that, half those. So 175 miles. Half of that mileage was with the load. It was a sheet of steel, 500 pounds. So just consider it empty, man. There's no weight resistance. I couldn't tell the difference. I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. I honestly couldn't tell the difference. An XL, D-cell, or the way the truck handled it, it's good as empty. So that's fair to call it, right? 500 pounds. Well, for you guys curious, you know, 14 for an average is not bad with an empty gooseneck. Really isn't bad, you know. I kept, what, 60 and some change for an average on the miles per hour. And then quite a few rolling hills and a few small towns. So, you know, I can't dog it on the gas mileage that much. Like, really. I'm surprised the air data came in at 30%. Just at a quick glance, you know, if I was driving my 4th gen, my 2014, my personal one, that was my very first brand new truck I ever bought myself, I'd probably be about 16 miles to the gallon, roughly, maybe a little higher. with higher mileage, because I handled that truck over when I had a 175 on the odometer. By the way, that truck's creeping up to 400. And if you're not a regular on my channel, I got a few trucks, you know, past the 500,000, a few trucks creeping up to that 500, and you know, so you just take that 21 trucks and divide it, I don't know, by 6 roughly. That's how many trucks I have per year. So I have pretty consistent data for every year, and not one or two or, you know, trucks, a few trucks per year to stack up everything. On a side note, if you were to ask me which year to buy of the Ram, I would say your best bet would be the 16 through 18 Ram with an ISON. Just everything's fine-tuned and perfected on them. There's nothing wrong with the 13s through 16s. They're just transmission, just tuned a little different. You know, if someone went in and got an updated tuning, it's probably shifting much better. You know, the cooling's a little bit different, dual radiator versus single. We're not really seeing a huge difference, but I do believe there's more depth to that first generation, that 2 radiator, so you don't quite gain heat as quickly as a single. But we're splitting hairs. I want to say there's probably 5 to 10% difference in cooling on those. What they did with the later models, my goodness, I'm way off subject, sorry guys, but I'll finish that statement. What they did with the later models, so in 2015 they went to a single radiator on them Rams. They just programmed the fan to kick on sooner, and that took care of a lot more than those dual radiators did on the earlier years. So the 13 through, you know, 13, 14s, and the 15s got the single. Just turning on the fan sooner did a lot more than having a dual radiator with the fan kicking on later. So anyways guys, this was supposed to be more of a Ford video than a Ram, but I'm comparing stuff. I'm trying to make it as close as possible, apples to apples comparison. So I know some of y'all are going to be upset, some of y'all are going to be happy. End of the day, I'm just keeping y'all updated. That is all. Alrighty boys, as always, may the Lord bless you, and may y'all have a mighty fine day. God bless you. Bye.